How's it going? Doing the backup air lines for the fish tank. But before we get on to the backup pump and the wiring, I thought I'd just show you this. We used to have the air lines, these two air lines, or two very much like it, run through a black pipe that went up there through some elbows and then down into the fish tank. When I came down before to start doing all this work on the backup, I thought I'd just check the pressure in the air lines, and when I pulled the air stone off and stuck my finger over the end, I noticed the air was very hot. So it was actually heating up in the black plastic pipe that was running over the top. We've got a 37 degrees Celsius day here, or I think that's about 98 point something degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, so that's just a bit of a preview of what's to come in summer. We're only spring here at the moment, so we've got a couple of days of that apparently coming. So I thought it was probably better if I changed the way the air lines are getting to the fish tank. So what I've done is, this is the actual backup line itself. It is going to go into, excuse the mess, an open knife, a little four-way splitter here, and I've got 4 of those little balls there, air stone balls, that are going to come off lines that'll go down into here. They're going to be providing the backup air. This line here is the continual air that will be running all the time. We don't feel we need as much because, as you can see, we get quite a bit of aeration in there. We've got the three siphons going on and off all the time, and that aerated water is then coming up into the fish tank via that pipe that's slowly coming into focus. And we also have a bit of a venturi going on with that pipe as well, so it's also aerating the water. So we're not overly concerned while the pump's running and while the 240 power is on about not getting enough air into the system. I think these stones deliver more than enough at the moment. So that's not a big problem. But the backup, when that water stops circulating, we're going to need extra oxygen in there for the fishies. So fish, perch. So that's why I've got the 4 stone going in through the backup. So anyway, I'll stop gibbering on. The backup line goes down. It's a rigid pipe. It's got a spine to it, so it's not going to get crushed. That's why I've chosen it. And it's going down underneath the pebbles there, or pebbles, the rock. I've drilled a hole in the back there, and I'm going to continue to drill holes all the way up to the top where the compressors are. This is the compressor that we will be connecting, but I'll finish hooking up all these air lines and getting everything running smoothly, and then I'll come back and show you. So I'm back in the tick. Rightio, now we're going to test the backup pump. You just want to come in here, babe, and have a look. I've got the little backup pump in here, and it's actually sitting on top of the curtain, the rods, the drying rods in this unit. It just stops it from jumping and vibrating around on there. You'll see how little it does vibrate in a minute. This is the backup air supply. I think it's Chainsaws diagram on Backyard Aquaponics. Just runs off 12 volt adapter. Some 12 volt power going into a relay, and what that actually does is hold a switch open in the on position. Then from there we have the positive coming from the pump to a battery. So what happens there is we don't have a complete circuit because the switch is held open because the power is running to the relay. I'm going to have to turn this off now because I need to swap this power cord around and reverse it so we can wire up the aquaponics properly to the power supply that's been installed down here. So I'll just show you what happens when you unplug it. So this is unplugging the air compressor. If you just want to show them in there how much air is coming through, babe. That's the air coming through. Now I will unplug the compressor, and that relay switch closes. The power that was holding the relay switch open, stopping the current from the battery going to the pump, has been closed because there's no power keeping it open. So that's how the backup air system works. Most of you probably know that already. And this is the amount of air that little backup pump actually generates. It's quite astounding. It's a heck of a lot more than we've actually got running through the system. And we're actually going to be losing a little bit of water down the overflow pipe just over there. So the water's a bit choppy. But the whole idea of this is, if the pump goes off, this is when this kicks in. So the water level will actually drain to the bottom, probably drain about 2 inches down there, so we won't have any water going down the overflow. So that's the amount of oxygen it generates. And just for anyone who's a bit concerned that it may be stressing the poor little fishies out, I'll just demonstrate that I don't think they really care. If I can just hold this up. So, for this experiment, to see if the fish care, all we're doing is adding some floating pellets. Do the fish care? The fish do not care. I don't think the fish could care if it was a typhoon going on out here. So, very impressed with that little system. So, I don't have a battery charger to charge the battery. Most people use a trickle feed. I haven't got that at the moment, so all I'm going to do is every now and then I'll borrow my father's battery charger for the time being, thanks Dad, and just make sure the battery's souped up. So all I've got to do now is fill in the trench down the bottom. Actually, sorry, I need to reverse the power lead. I need to, it's actually buried underneath the pebbles there, the rock there, so all I need to do is get the male pins in here and the female pins over there, and that's where we will have the pump and the float switch. So I'll show you that when I get around to it. So I'll get to it. Right, well I think I'm finished. So I'll start from the outside here. Let's put a little hose reel on there. I have a permanent power cord now running through down there. I've just cut some 16mm irrigation pipe and I've just put that over the top just to protect it under the rocks there. Not that there'll be any weight on it, but anyway. Someone's being chased by a Nerf gun upstairs, I think. Power comes through down the bottom and the white lead comes up and powers this 4-board that has a safety trip switch. And the yellow lead that goes back down goes down via some protective 13mm irrigation line again under there and into this box here. So this box here contains the pump, that's the power point for the pump, and that's a piggyback switch, float switch for the float that's in the fish tank. So if the water drops too low, it turns this pump off here. So that way we won't burn that pump out if anything ever happens. And because this is a constant height fish tank, the fish will never go without water because it will only drain down to the bottom of that outlet pipe over there. I think someone wants some food. So that's how we can protect the fish that way and they won't lose all their water. The second backup is the air pump that I've been showing you, the backup for that. It comes through here. There's currently 4 balls on there and I'm having fish strike at it as I'm holding it. Yeah, testy little fellas. So, and this is the backup system. I finally fixed it after I burn out a relay. What I think the problem was, this little phone charger, hide the brand name, is a 10 volt. And what I think the problem is, the 10 volt wasn't enough to keep this little 12 volt relay open. So something's happened there and just burnt this out and that out. So I've gone back to the drawing board and spoken to some people who work with 12 volt and they have told me to get a 12 volt like is suggested on Chainsaw's thread, a 12 volt little adapter. So that's what I've got down here. This is just a spare one. And I've taken the top off, put on some nice little clamps here, and it's all nice and neatly set up now. I went down and bought a brand new one of these. It's running rather hot at the moment, but apparently that's how they work. So hopefully this won't burn out. It was a bit disappointing. I was all ready to post a clip the other day and came down the next morning before I went to post it, and yeah, it had burnt out and this has been running. So it had only been running for about 3 hours. So I checked it first thing in the morning and then came back about lunchtime and it was running. So it would have only been running for about 3 hours at the most. So that's pretty much all it. That's our little backup system. So I'm pretty chuffed with that. It's a nice easy build, and thanks to Chainsaw who posted on the Backyard Aquaponics forum. Apparently a couple of the guys on there run their systems this way, so he decided to set up a thread to show us. So that's pretty much all it, I suppose. Any comments, questions, any suggestions, how I can streamline this, feel free to post them in the comment section below. I'm actually thinking, I've been speaking to Hitman, who's also got a thread on the Backyard Aquaponics forum, and he's pretty much all sticking with the inverter style backup, I think. So I'm going to try and educate myself in the ways of electronics and see if I can look into that and maybe replacing this whole system with an inverter with a backup battery built in. So we'll just see what happens. I'll stop yabbering and hope you have a great one. Take it easy and catch ya.